American reacts to American habits I dropped in Germany. Let's take a look. Willkommen. My name is Sean Huggins, and this is React with Hugs. Let's hop straight into today's reaction. All right, terrifying place to pause the video here. Terrifying frame here. That's fine, though. We're going to power through it. This woman is an American who's living in Germany, very similar to me. So let's see what she has to say about American habits that she dropped when she moved to Germany, I guess. Los geht's.
It happened without warning, just kind of snuck up on me like a monster in the dark. I did not even see it coming. 1 minute I was Donna, the jaywalking, debit card using, car driving, high tipping American who found it odd to hang wet clothes on a drying rack in my kitchen, and then poof! I woke up one morning, Germanized.
Okay. All right, let's see what she's getting Germanized
hey everyone, I'm Donna and you're watching Wanted Adventure Living Abroad. Moving to a different country changed me in many ways. How I think, how I talk, my understanding of different cultures, my understanding of the world. But these are more broad, abstract changes. Today we're going to look at some of the more concrete, good old American habits or practices that I simply don't do anymore after living in Germany for 6 years.
All right. I feel like I'm inside of a cartoon with how she's talking.
Where I'm from in Florida, jaywalking is not a big deal, especially if you're downtown where traffic is slower. You'll often see people looking both ways, waiting for the road to be clear, and then
Rotgänger, Totgänger.
Scampering from one side of the street to the other. It's just a normal, common way to get to the other side. Adults do it with their little kids. Teenagers do it. Old people do it.
Yeah, this is true. In America, jaywalking is also illegal. It's just not enforced really at all. Like cops, I guess, just have more important things to do. I don't know, but it's just not enforced, so people just don't take it as seriously. And even though it is technically illegal, it's never really a problem, and people just do it anyways. So yeah,
everyone does it. But I noticed that's not exactly the case here in Germany, at least not in Munich, where I've even seen people get scolded by little old ladies for crossing the street on a red. There are even these amazing signs reminding people to set a good example for the children and wait
Rotgänger, Totgänger
for the green light before crossing. But I have noticed a very big exception to this general rule.
What?
If someone is running for their tram, so they see their tram pull up and they have to run across the street for it, all cares and etiquette and example setting for children goes out the window.
Also, football fan, ultra marches in the street. That's just one long, continuous jaywalking down the middle of the street.
Even that little old lady that was just scolding someone will dash across the street to catch their tram. And it seems to be totally acceptable and understood. Well, of course that person ran across the street on a red. Their tram was coming. Then all seems to be forgiven.
Is this true? You guys are the experts. You guys are the Germans. You gotta let me know. Is this true? I haven't noticed this living in Germany. Maybe because I don't leave the house, but I don't know. I've never really experienced this too much in Germany, but maybe it's true. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it true in Germany that nobody jaywalks? Like, I mean, I know that it's illegal. Like I said, it's illegal in America too, but people just do it anyways. Do people not do it in Germany? I've never really actually taken notice. What's next? Drinking a lot.
Okay, so just a quick clarification here. I'm not talking about alcohol, but rather just liquids in general. Back in the US, I used to drink so much at home and when out to eat. First of all, our cups are just bigger. This is the largest water glass that we have here at our home in Germany, and this would be considered a small cup by American standards.
True. When you are at like a fast food restaurant, or maybe if you're buying a bottle of stuff at a grocery store. But I would say as far as cups within American households go, I would say that's a pretty standard size cup that she's holding right there. Pretty average. Definitely not big. Definitely not small. Just kind of the average size.
I remember having these huge cups at home in the U.S. Recently, I started drinking.
Okay, well, maybe I'm weird. I don't know. I've never seen anybody with huge cups in their house. It could just be my friends and family and everybody that I've ever known and everybody that I've ever loved in my entire life. It could just be those people. I don't know. Maybe in Florida it's different. I've never, I don't know anybody that's in Florida. Maybe it's different down there, but I've never known anybody that has huge cups in their house. It's always like you get huge cups when you are at a movie theater or at a fast food place or something like that. Not in the house. Interesting. Could just be me, though.
Drinking water from beer mugs here in Germany just so that I have something a little bit bigger. And when going out to eat in the US, water is totally free in restaurants. And
yeah, this is true.
Fountain sodas cost like $3 with completely free refills. So I would just
this is true.
slurp down my drink all throughout the meal, getting
this is true.
3 or 4 refills. Now I've noticed that when I go back to the US and go out to eat, the servers look at me like I'm kind of crazy because sometimes I barely even finish my first drink. Or if I get a refill, I'll just ask for it to be filled about halfway the second time. So yeah, now after living in Germany, I definitely, in general, drink less.
I'm going to have to disagree there. I don't think any server would ever look at you weird in America for not getting refills. Like... If anything, they are probably thankful because they have less work to do. But I don't think anybody actually has ever looked at anybody weird because they're like, oh, you don't want to drink 3 sodas? But I don't think any server would look at you weird because you're not finishing your drink or you don't want refills. That I don't think that's real. Driving. This is true. This is true. Everybody knows people don't drive in Germany, that's a big habit in America, driving. So that is a good American habit to drop.
Well, this one is
kidding, guys. Sarcasm.
Since I moved to Prague 7 years ago, I've driven a car about maybe
Prague?
10 times. Since I moved to Prague 7 years ago.
Prague? I thought she said she's living in Munich. Huh?
I've driven a car about maybe 10 times, and all of those times were in the US, and I love it. I love having public transportation or walking and not having to drive.
Oh, that's it. That's the whole thing. Okay. Well, I guess she probably lived in Prague before she lived in Germany. Fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely no surprise that in America, public transportation is lacking, if not just completely non-existent, and that sucks because I don't want to have to drive everywhere either, but you kind of have to in most places in America. You kind of have to. The only time you can really you can get away with not having a car in America is if you live in a big city. But even then, if you want to go outside of the big city, you can't really get that far outside of the big city without a car because the public transportation doesn't go to like a whole bunch of little villages and towns around the big city area like they do in Germany. That's like one of the best things about German public transportation is that you have all these bus stops and train stations and whatever in all these tiny little towns and everything, so you can actually get to a very wide variety of places on public transportation, not just within the downtown metropolitan city area, you know? Anyways, let's continue. Using a dryer. What? Oh. Not using a dryer in Germany, I assume. I'm assuming drying racks and stuff.
Far back as I can remember into my childhood, the dryer was there, sitting right next to the washing machine, rumbling and shaking as it dried my clothes. And as a kid, I can remember hopping up onto it and laughing as it shook me from side to side. And I remember being sad when my mom finally broke the news to me that I was too big to do that anymore and that it would break the machine if I sat on it.
I don't think that's what's happening. Anyways.
Guess what, Mom? I still did it for a few more years and it never broke. Ha!
Okay.
When I moved to Prague, one of my first purchases
glaze over
was
that one.
A drying rack because, no dryer in the apartment. And now it's just become normal. I almost forget the dryers even exist. Although I will say that I do miss the way that towels feel after being dried in a dryer. With the drying rack, they always feel kind of stiff. I miss that fluffy, soft, warm feel to them.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I know in Germany don't have dryers. It's just drying racks. Me and Isa would only have a drying rack, and that's pretty rare in America. Pretty much everybody has a dryer, or their apartment complex has a dryer or whatever. Most people in America don't really use drying racks. I mean, my mom has a drying rack in America, but I think that that is definitely the minority. Obviously, I know that Germany has dryers, but I think that in America, it's like almost not an option to use anything but a dryer. Whereas in Germany, it's way more common to use drying racks or a dryer. Like both options are good in Germany. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's better for the environment.
Yeah. Paying with plastic. Okay.
Paying with plastic means paying with your credit or debit card, which is how I used to pay for almost everything before moving to Europe.
I still pretty much pay everything with plastic. I never carry cash. I don't care if it's dollars or euros or freaking Thai baht, whatever it is. Actually, never mind. When I was living in Thailand, I did use cash there because I was a lot more worried about security in Thailand. So I used cash there. But in Germany, I feel perfectly safe using plastic or whatever. And actually, everywhere else I've been to in Europe, I just always use plastic because, I don't know, I just feel safe enough to do it. So I would rather do that than carry around a bunch of cash.
In the US, I almost never had actual cash on me. It's funny because here in Europe, I often notice people sigh and roll their eyes at the grocery store when someone tries to pay with their credit or debit card.
Really?
Whereas in the US, I can remember there was actually this commercial encouraging people to pay with plastic.
Let's pause it here. I need you guys to tell me again, is there a negative image of paying with card in Germany? I mean, apart from it not being as secure, not being as private, not being as safe, whatever, like all that stuff aside, I'm talking about speed. Like, is there a feeling that if you pay with card, it's going to take longer than if you pay with cash? That is something that I would be curious to hear about in the comments. So definitely let me know your opinion. Do you think that paying with cash is faster, or do you think that paying with card is faster? Or do you think that they're about the same? I think that paying with card is faster, at least for me personally, because then I don't have to wait for the person to give me the change and all the little coins and do whatever they got to do. I just bloop, tap it or stick it in, maybe put in my PIN, and then it's basically up to the however fast the computer can process it, and it's usually pretty fast. So yeah, I feel like paying with card might be a little bit faster, but I guess it depends. If you're like really slow putting in your PIN or something, then it would be really slow. I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one's faster, cash or card? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. All right, let's continue.
Because it was faster than paying with cash. You just swipe. And I knew I had become Germanized with this one when some friends visited us from the US, and we went to the Christmas markets, and they said something like, "Oh, I don't have any cash, but it's okay, I have my debit card." And I laughed. How ridiculous I thought it was that they could think that the Christmas market stands would take debit cards.
True.
They don't, right?
Yeah, even today, I mean, this video is like 8 or 9 years old at the time that I'm recording this. And even today, the Christmas markets, most of them that I've been to don't take cards, except for maybe like the big beer vendors or something, like maybe some of those. But most of the little tiny vendors, they're not taking card. They're just taking cash.
US, they probably would.
Carrying a gun. All right. This is definitely a habit that you definitely drop pretty quickly moving from America to Germany. Pretty hard to carry a gun around in Germany. Not going to lie. I've tried it. No, I'm just kidding. Haven't tried it. Don't report me to the police. Hashtag no Polizei, bitte. Okay, let's continue.
Just kidding. I didn't carry a gun with me in the US. ever. I've never even held a gun, but I was well aware of the fact that lots of people did. And that's something that I really love here in Germany. I don't have to worry or wonder if just some random person on the street has a gun.
That is definitely a big bonus about living in Germany. It's definitely in the back of my mind at all times in America. Like, there's just always the potential for just some person to just have a gun anywhere that you are, for the most part. Like, pretty much anywhere you go, you just have to have in the back of your mind, maybe somebody here has a gun. And like, if you are not American, which most people that watch my videos are, if you're in Europe or something and you're watching this and you're like, that's a crazy thing to have to think about all the time, my answer to that would be yes. Yes, it is. Yes, of course it is. But without getting into the weeds of the politics of everything, I'll just say a lot of people in America have tried to do stuff about the gun laws here in America. It just so happens that a lot more people have done stuff to keep the gun laws the same. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But, you know, maybe in a couple generations from now, since kids are getting more and more used to learning all about guns in school, then maybe they'll, you know, grow up and be able to do something about it. But for my generation, we are screwed. So what are you going to do?
So I guess the way I've been Germanized here is that guns have pretty much become a non-issue. You don't have these mass shootings every few months in Germany, or wake up
every few months. Dude, this was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Like I said, that this original video was filmed. We got mass shootings like every day in America now. So, yep, that's all I'm going to say about that.
To hear about smaller shootings on the news. If you walk past someone at night, you don't have to wonder if they're carrying. And if you hear a loud pop burst through the night air, you don't have to think, well, that was either someone's car backfiring or a gun shooting going on. Actually, in Germany, you know that it was neither, because there are no guns and the cars have to go to the TÜV every 2 years. So it wasn't that. So the noise was then, I don't know, probably someone preparing the New Year's fireworks, which everyone comes out en masse to shoot off and scare the crap out of me. But
true.
That is a subject for a different video. So my question for you is, are there any habits or customs from your home country that you've shaken off after living abroad, or even just after traveling abroad?
No. All right. But actually, though, that was pretty interesting. I definitely agree with a lot of what she was saying. Not everything, though. But then again, I can't speak for all Americans, because America is so gigantic and diverse that the way that I grew up in America is probably definitely quite a bit different than a lot of other people that grow up in America, because of how different it is. So all I can do is speak on my experiences. But speaking of personal experience, I'm curious what you guys, the experts, have to say. First of all, is it really the case where people will really like yell at you, like old ladies will yell at you if you cross the street on a red light? And second of all, out of card and cash, which one do you think is faster? I'm curious what you guys think, so leave your mustard down in the comments section below. And when you're done there, check out madewithhugs.com for merch and more content. But that's all the time that I have for today. Thank you guys so much for being here, and as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.